DraftScience video presentation. This one, hopefully, a quick response to Decenti guy. He's made one of these paradox things, blah blah blah. This is the Faraday paradox, and it's sort of been solved, but the solution just doesn't go anywhere. And this relates exactly to the Professor Lewin controversy, and where he claims that whatever circular reasoning they use in circuits isn't true because there's two voltages in the same place and blah blah blah. And it just has to do with the fact that in inductors you have to be really careful how you probe the experiment, because your probes end up getting an induced current in them, electricity. Okay, so you just have to follow the bouncing magnetic field, so to speak. So anyway, in this experiment, what you'll find is that you're not measuring any electric current. Okay, the eddy currents in the copper, you're not measuring those. You're inducing a current in your probe wires, in your contacts that are trying to measure the voltage on the copper disc. So he has a copper disc. I just drew that really quick. It was really, the video is just for him, frankly, but at the end I'll explain some of this. There's magnets in the orange piece of plastic. The red piece of plastic has a little copper disc in it. So what he's doing is spinning magnets in proximity to the copper disc, or whatever it's made out of. Brass, doesn't really matter. And what's happening is there's a paramagnetic effect, or the reciprocal effect. Okay, the eddy currents, I don't think it's the right way to think about it, but regardless, the fact is the magnetic field, it's like dropping the magnet through the copper tube. There's another magnetic field created, kind of obviously. So the magnetic field he's creating in the copper disc is not rotating with the motor. Yeah, it gets recreated in new locations all the time, but it's not moving. And the fact is your contacts are. So you're moving your pieces of lead, your contacts with a copper plate, you're moving them in the magnetic field being created by the copper disc. The magnetic field that's giving you the electricity is the magnetic field in the copper disc. That's the one that's inducing a current in the pieces of pencil lead he's using as brushes. The simple way to tell that that's what's happening is just put an insulator on your disc. So now you're not making contact anymore with the disc. So you just put some Scotch tape on it, or a piece of plastic, and you'll see that even if you're not in contact with the copper disc, you're still getting the same amount of current, which means your probe wires are in the inductor and they're turning. So you can't think about the magnetic field of just the magnets. You have to think about the one you've induced in the copper. That's the magnetic field you're spinning in. That's the one that's inducing the current. So you're not reading the eddy currents. You're not pulling current out of the copper disc. You're just inducing current in wires you're spinning in a magnetic field. That's probably enough. He went to a lot of work. I feel kind of bad that he goes to all this trouble when this has sort of been solved. Okay, it's not a paradox. You're just spinning wires. You're spinning probe wires in a magnetic field. Not the magnets, not the neodymium magnetic field. The magnetic field you've induced in the copper. That's the one you're spinning the wires in. That's about as plain as you need to make it. Anybody who has any knowledge of this subject will say, oh, okay, yeah, I get that. So I shouldn't have to say anymore. So we'll call it a video. All right. So till the next time and such. I should say, the Decenti guy seems like an intelligent guy, done some interesting stuff on polarization, different things. We completely disagree in the sense that, he's doing this whole ethereal mechanics crap. Because he believes in this ether crap and wave crap. And so apparently we can't, relate to each other at all. But science is science, and I'm just saying that unfortunately this science is already sort of settled. So you're not, you're not breaking anything. You're not finding something that can't be accounted for. Sorry. So, enough said.